When we go out to eat, we never agree on where to go.
I want burgers! Pizza.
Tacos it is.
The one thing we do agree on is we all want unlimited high-speed data. That's why we switched to Metro PCS.
Stop by Metro PCS with the whole family and get 4 lines with unlimited LTE data for just $100, period. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out.
Coverage not available in some areas. Requires new line. During congestion, the fraction of customers using more than 35 gigs per month may notice reduced speeds. Video streams at up to 480p. No tethering. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Hi, and welcome to Cin's Chat. Hi, and welcome to Cin's Chat. This is Deb Ottinger. I am filling in for the lovely Cindy today. And we are going to be talking to a really interesting guy here today, Steve, who is an entrepreneur and an event planner. Steve Clayton is his name. But first, we've got 2 little housekeeping things to take care of. We want to talk about Cindy's Film Festival for a second. There is a deadline for final submissions to the film festival is June 11th. This includes screenplays, youth films, web series, shorts, and features. And all of the notifications are being sent out on June 19th. The link to that is going to be filmfreeway.com/Art is Alive Film Festival. So if you are dreaming of being a filmmaker, you should definitely submit your film to this wonderful little film festival. Secondly, Cindy is working on a short film, The Looks of Love, and she is going to be looking for some actors and musicians. If you are interested in being part of an incredibly creative project with the potential for being seen in all kinds of really cool places, then you're going to want to email us in at CIN4251@gmail.com. Okay, so that takes care of all of our housekeeping. Now we are going to bring on Steve Clayton. Steve, are you there? Steve, if you're there, I can't hear you. Okay, I'm not sure if we have Steve on the line yet. So let's talk about the film festival a little bit more. Art is Alive has been in for a couple of years now, and it is really for people who love film. And it's great for people who are really getting going and really trying to get their creative stuff off the ground. Okay, let's see if we've got someone here now.
Can you hear me?
Steve, are you there? I can hear you now. Hi. I'm so sorry. I had you on hold.
I know. Well, yeah. I was like, I'm here. I could hear you. So, yeah. The system said I could only listen in at the moment.
Well, I'm glad we figured out that little technical blip. How are you today?
All good. Well, thank you great. I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a real pleasure. I've been reading about your career, and this is going to be a very interesting discussion, I think.
Well, hopefully. Hopefully I don't bore everyone.
Oh, I don't think you will. Okay, so all right. So my first question is, okay, so I was reading about you, and it sounds like you started out as a disc jockey, right?
Excuse me. Yeah, I started. I knew from an early age I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to, be able to fulfill as much as I wanted the limits of my success to be in my hands and not someone else's. And I enjoyed music. After I played collegiate basketball and played basketball overseas, I loved music, and I loved going to parties, and I was like, well, how can I merge these two together? And so, yeah, I started as a disc jockey and doing all sorts of events, and it's grown exponentially.
And do you think that playing the music as opposed to singing it is more fun, or that you have more influence?
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, people would pay me not to sing, so I really couldn't comment on the the influence there. I think there's in today's society, there's so many talented DJs out there that have created their own brand and their own name that play other people's music, but also create their own, and they influence their own people. I wouldn't say one over the other. I definitely think people who sing are extremely talented and have their own pedestal to stand on. Separate, I think they're just apples and oranges, really. But yeah, DJing took me and opened a lot of other doors and into the festival production and event production world that I'm in now.
I was just going to ask that. So is this a direct, was it a direct journey from disc jockey to event planning, or how did that journey happen?
Well, it was direct. It was very linear. It was the disc jockeying led to clients' needs for additional equipment and services, and those that which we acquired equipment and services, and were able to provide that for a growing number of clients. And so disc jockeying led to audiovisual rentals and production for smaller corporate clients and things like that, which then just grew into larger clients and different galas and large seminars, and that grew into doing audiovisual for concerts and fairs and festivals, and from there doing the audiovisual for that led to artist management and booking, and then eventually executive producing a number of events. Our largest event is about 40,000 people. Wow,
that is amazing. And that event has definitely grown over the years too. I think I read that, right? It started out very small, and you've actually built it into this big, wonderful thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, a number of events, I mean, they definitely have a season, they have a growing period, and, I've been blessed with a great team, and it's not only my ideas. I can't take credit for 100% of any of it. It's definitely a team effort, and the events that we've been able to do have grown, and some of them have grown to a point and then have kind of faded out, and we've developed a new concept or product of an event. There's only a handful of events brands that we own personally, and the rest of them are concepts that a client would come and say, hey, we want to do this. We want to do this festival. We want to do this event, and here's the goals and objectives for this event, and this is what we want the outcome to be, and here's the scope of work. Can you put a proposal together to accomplish that? And that's how it comes to life now. Very cool.
Okay, and I see that you're a native of LA. Me too. I was actually born in Los Angeles as well, and that you studied at the University of California in Riverside, right?
Yeah, I'm originally born in Toronto, from D.C., raised in D.C. I actually am a suburb, a far-out suburb of L.A. I'm actually halfway between L.A. and San Diego in Temecula.
I saw that. Actually, Riverside, Temecula, I am very familiar with that area. Both my parents lived in Riverside and Sun City, if you've ever heard of that. And I still have a brother who lives in Temecula. Yeah. And that says we were practically neighbors. So now I see that you
married. Didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it, right? So I see that you majored in sociology. So can you, do you see a correlation with your degree and your current job? I mean, because a lot of times, you get that degree and it doesn't seem to relate. But do you think yours relates to what you do?
No.
No. Okay.
I like the long pause. No, honestly, I was in public communications. I went to American University in D.C. I was in public communications. I had some great, while I was playing basketball there, I had some great professors. I had Oliver Stone was one of our professors, and
wow.
then we had. Gosh, I can't remember his name from ESPN. David Aldridge, a sports reporter from ESPN, and so we had some great people in the industry in communication. And then when I transferred for basketball, UC Riverside had no communications major, so honestly, I hate to say it, but it was quote unquote the athletes major. It was what I needed to do to get done. I didn't think I was going to do anything with it. It was more to get the degree and get into the
have that on
get
your
into
resume.
doing what I wanted to do. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You
cool.
probably don't hear that
Well,
that much, do you?
Actually, I hear it more than you would think. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to someone who has gotten a degree. As a matter of fact, a young actress I know just got a degree in philosophy, has no idea what she's going to do with it.
All right, good.
Okay, so I see you are a husband and a father. How many kids do you have?
4 daughters.
4 daughters. Awesome. All right. And how do you balance work and your home life?
Great question. I think that's one of the
with 4
things
daughters,
that
you've got to be insanely busy.
4 daughters, 4 horses, 2 donkeys, 4 goats, chickens, dogs, cats. Very busy. But
so you don't live in downtown Temecula then?
No, we have a ranch. Yeah, we have a ranch. I think that's one of the things that I've spoken at seminars about, and one of the things that, when I coach new people that are trying to kind of follow in the same footsteps, that's one of the things I think I am still working on, but I provide education to these people. I never think that I'm not a work in progress. You always have to. To me, it's if you're satisfied, then I'm always seeking the next plateau or the next opportunity or the next goal or objective there. So, to answer the question, we work hard. I take my kids to school every morning. And we play hard. I mean, we vacation twice a year. We do horse chores together. The kids attend a lot of our events. I mean, when we were doing the Neon Run, my kids would travel all over the country and in Canada with me, and they would do merchandise. They would sell merchandise, or they would do registration when people would come up and register. So that, some people would be hesitant to involve their kids in business because maybe it's a bad look, or maybe something could happen. But it was so important to get them real life training. I mean, your 7-year-old or 8-year-old counting money, your 15-year-old dealing with an unhappy participant who's, raising their voice. Real life skills that you're not going to get at school. So I really enjoy taking them. Even some of our more gray market events, like some of the cannabis events that we produce, I'll take some of my older kids, and not to glorify or glamorize it, but to show them that this is the real world. You know, you can drink alcohol responsibly, or you could be the drunk that's falling over themselves and slobbering and leaning up against the wall. I mean, you know, so you know, look and educate yourself, and then you're going to have to make your own decision as you get older. So, you know, plus so it's a good education part. It's good experience. They gain this real life experience, a real world business experience, how to deal with people, and of course they like it. I mean, they get to meet Migos or get to meet Machine Gun Kelly, or you know, they like to, you know, they like those things.
Absolutely. That sounds amazing. And as a granddaughter of someone who had the same, my grandfather ran a shop, and he took me in when I was a very young girl, and I, just like you were saying, learned how to make change and deal with customers. It was a wonderful life experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can beat it at school.
No, you really can't. So, okay, and I also see that you taught 7th grade. So tell me a little bit about that. What did you find? What did you like most about that? And do you ever hear from any of your old students?
I don't. I actually hear from the old principal, who's now the superintendent of the school district, from time to time. But what I like most about that was retiring from that. And I mean, God bless the middle school teachers out there, because it is a extremely difficult job, and one that I was not. You know, you have to be passionate about your work. I mean, I don't consider my work. I live, my life is my work, and it's not work because I'm just doing my day-to-day activities.
And you're doing what you love.
You know, when you have to clock in and clock out, and you know, you're looking at when the timer is going to beep so you can get out of there, it's challenging. And you know, I don't think I was a good teacher, because it was a subject I honestly didn't know anything about. It was the state of California thought that I was a suitable instructor in a subject that I had very little education in myself. So it was counterintuitive, but I related to the kids. I mean, you know, being an athlete, and a lot of the kids were, you know, wanted to be athletes, so they wanted to do art, or they wanted to do other things. But yeah, it was not a good fit for me. And my passion led me elsewhere. It was honestly, I had a newborn baby at the time, and I just finished playing professional basketball, and how am I going to provide for my family? I knew it was a bridge. I knew it was a transition into my my career, my entrepreneurial business. But you know, it was just that.
Okay. All right. Well, now back in March, you were going back to your current events here. You were scheduled to participate in Mobile Beat Las Vegas. How did the event go, and was it an effective networking tool?
Yeah, it was great. Mobile Beat, the publisher Ryan Berger does a great job. I mean, I love the fact that he was, and still kind of is a DJ that puts on this event, this conference for DJs. So it's just a testimony to, you know, DJs growing in their career path and their opportunities, and growing out of, you know, just quote unquote DJing and into producing events. So it was great. I keynoted a seminar, a section one day, and had about an hour, and you know, really just talked about that exact thing, the path, my path from, you know, the scary time of leaving the safety and security of a quote-unquote a full-time job with the benefits and the health insurance and everything like that, to follow your dream. And then from there, expanding on your dream. Who would have ever thought that, you know, leaving the school system, you know, and the safety and security that provides, to be a DJ would number one pan out, and then who would have thought being a DJ would lead to, producing 100,000 multi-million-dollar festivals would pan out. I didn't.
That's amazing.
I knew I wanted to do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great testimony to just really follow your heart, follow your dream, and live your best life, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really think you have. I always say that I take strategic risks. You can't get anywhere without taking a risk, but it has to be a strategic risk. You have to be able to sit back and really analyze. You're never going to know when to take the next step, but you have to be ready when that opportunity comes. So I knew that I wasn't going to teach for the rest of my life. I didn't know when that opportunity would be, okay, now's the time I'm just going to leave teaching and DJ full-time. I didn't know when I was going to not DJ anymore and just produce. It's a little different. I mean, right now I really have three different businesses, if you will. I mean, we own audiovisual, so we have a rental division or a rental company, and so we provide resources for corporate events or festivals or concerts. We do talent buying, so we purchase and procure talent for different events and concerts, and then we produce. And the word produce is so misused, but producing means managing an aspect or a scope of work for a project. It's project management. Right. And so when we produce an event, or we're the executive producer of the event, we're like a general contractor, if you will, for that project. And some of them are, smaller scopes, and some of them, a few of them are $1 million plus scopes. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Okay, so you mentioned earlier that you're from Toronto, right? And I see that you were picked to be a part of the Canadian Music Week. What was your role there? What did you do?
So going from Mobile Beat, where I spoke about my path and my passion and taking your business to the next level, at Canadian Music Week, I spoke on a panel regarding cannabis events specifically, because it seems as though I fell into this industry of cannabis event production specifically. I mean, I produce all sorts of different events, but and I have probably produced more cannabis-centered events than anybody else in terms of different types of events. I'm sure there are people that have produced more quantity, but I mean, for different brands, I think there's 8 to 10 different brands or different named events that I've done in the cannabis industry. So I've kind of been the go-to person on what to know and how to do it, and where did it come from, and what's going to happen next, and where the industry is going. So I spoke there. The thing that's really interesting and different is, the attendees, a lot of them in Toronto are Canadian, and the laws and rules in Canada that govern cannabis are vastly different than the United States and vastly different than California specifically. So,
is that how you got into? Is that how you got into the cannabis? Is that what made you decide to go in it? Because in Canada, it's not as criminalized as it is here in the United States?
Well, actually, it has not become legal. It's supposed to be legal at the end of the summer, the beginning of the fall this year. And it will be treated very similarly, from my understanding, it will be treated very similarly to tobacco in Canada. But it's not why. I mean, I hadn't been back to Toronto in 30 years, so I didn't know very much about Canadian laws regarding cannabis. I could really only speak on laws in the D.C. area and laws in California and some of the surrounding states. So I brought a different touch to the panel up in Canada.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, it was
So,
an outsider's perspective, I guess.
So what did lead you to specifically like the cannabis festivals and events and things like that? I mean, what to be a little punny sparked your interest?
Yeah, I mean, a great question again. I mean, it wasn't something I sought after. I was providing audio, visual, staging, technical reinforcement for a venue that venue was holding cannabis events. So the owners of those events would contact me, and then from there just went from doing this scope of work, audio, visual, and staging, to managing artists, to managing artists in this, and now then, hey, just take over and do everything, manage A to Z for us. So it wasn't anything I was seeking to do, but I also like the challenge, because it's such a gray market, but yet it's a market that is expanding. There's kind of two, hot button words in our society right now, cryptocurrency and cannabis, and they always seem to be hot, and I like the fact that it was a progressive, up and coming, edgy industry that nobody knows what's going on. I mean, I still like, although I know a lot, I'm still dealing with, different agencies and permits and legal actions and these kinds of things that I didn't have to do when I was a DJ, and I didn't have to do when I'm producing some, regular corporate event at the Hyatt. But now, moving, I kind of feel like a pioneer moving the initiative in the industry along here. So I like that. It's totally different than just planning and producing a regular event.
So in addition to planning these events...
I'm sorry? Hello?
Are you there? Can you still hear me?
Yep, I'm here. Yep, I can now.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I was just asking, so, I mean, it does sound like, you're on this really exciting edge, and things seem to be changing pretty rapidly, at least, sort of rapidly. So are you doing more than just planning the events? Are you doing any sort of activism to get things legalized, anything like that?
I think there's a little all of there are our events, and each brand event or each event that we're involved with, the principal in the event will have a different motive or a different agenda item that they want to push along, and so those are sprinkled throughout each of those events. I wouldn't say that they are solely focused on those. The industry is moving along, and it is what it is. It's coming, and it's going to bring a lot of taxable revenue to cities and states that need it. They're going to work out what they work out on the medicinal purposes and uses of the flower, but from a strictly event standpoint, they are used sometimes as platforms to push an initiative or push an agenda item, and make something known. But also they're used to celebrate their culture and celebrate celebrate the people that are participating. So a lot of our items, our events will have different items like street art. They'll have like graffiti, big white walls that we put up where they'll have graffiti artists like draw. It's the things that go along with the culture of what it has been in the past. So along with curating the music. Yeah. Yep.
I see that you've been crucial to the development of the Chalice Festival. and that's become one of the bigger ones, right, for music and glass and hash. Can you discuss that event a little bit more?
Yeah, brief, kind of. I can tell what I can tell. The event is moving along. It's in its 5th year. It's been highly successful. Like any event in California, dealing with the rules and regulations of California. I mean, being that California has deregulated and re-regulated in 1 year. You know, it's the biggest deregulation, re-regulation in California history. So dealing with the over bureaucracy and over permitting and over regulation of everything. So, you know, dealing with those things. But ultimately, you know, Chalice is estimated to bring $30 to $50 million in economic impact to the area.
Wow.
And with sales and hotel rooms and tourism and I mean, McDonald's are sold out, Arco A&PMs are sold out, gas stations sold out, hotel rooms for 50 miles are sold out. So it's
wow. That's fantastic.
It's a great event, and you know, more than that, it's a fun event and it's a safe event. There have been no violent crimes, no arrests, no deaths in the 4 years we've had the event. And a lot of events can't say that, but you know, our record with law enforcement and the city and things like that speak for itself. I mean, we've really tried to do a good job on that.
That is so cool. I mean, you're right. Not a lot of festivals can have that kind of record, so that's fantastic. No, I know that you have been fortunate to book the likes of Ice Cube, among others, but inquiring minds want to know, how did you get to know him personally, and is it scary to meet somebody that famous?
Oh, that's a funny question. Did I get to know him? No. I mean, he may say, well, he did say a different point of view. I think it was on Jimmy Fallon. He talked about our event and where we paid him and his management team to for transportation. So we didn't have to pick him up. We bought it out, as they say. So, and his apparently they were running late, and his Sprinter van broke down. And we sent 3 vehicles to go pick him up, 45 minutes away from the venue. At this point, it was already late, and by the time our 3 vehicles get there, he jumps in an Uber, and he has this old lady in the minivan pick him up and drive him straight to the stage. And he tells us on Jimmy Fallon, and he said, I think he blames the promoters, which I don't consider myself a promoter. I'm a producer. So the promoters, the people, but so no, needless to say, we didn't cross paths, with Ice Cube, other than getting him to the stage and letting him do his show and get off. I mean, he put on a good show, and the people liked him that stayed there. I mean, he's iconic, and he's done great things in movies and music. So people really liked him. But others I have met, and I could say that for the most part, most of these people are really, I mean, they're just people like you and me, right? They bleed, they sweat, they pay taxes, they everything that you and I would do. So most of the time they are pretty humble, and we try to accommodate them and make them feel wanted and welcome, and that's definitely one of the things we want to pride ourselves in.
Very cool. You mentioned earlier in the interview the Neon Run. Is that something that you still are involved with?
Yeah, well, we still own the intellectual property in the brand and everything with the Neon Run, and we had some great years. I mean, upwards of 12,000 runners and attendees at some of our events. And as the market got saturated and as the participatory run industry or market kind of dwindled, it wasn't as profitable to continue with that. So although we still own it, we're not actively running that event for the public. We have had interest for private buyouts from colleges and cities and different things like that, different malls that want to hold an event and bring people in and, raise money for a charity and things like that. So, we plan to, in the future, look into getting back out there and doing some events. But we've done, Neon Run's been at everywhere from Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary to Seattle, Orlando, Portland, Phoenix, DC, all across the country.
Okay. Wow. Okay, well, two new things that are coming up for you, coaching system concept and a new book. Can you give us a status update on both of those things, and if there are any events coming up that we can come and meet you?
Yeah, I would love to. I had every intention to have my book done by March and by Mobile Beat. And first quarter of the year for me always is a good reflection time to get things down on paper. And when the book wasn't to my satisfaction at the end of March, it got pushed on the back burner. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to lie about it. It got pushed on the back burner. We are in our first couple of drafts and revisions to it. I just don't want to put out a crappy product. So my intention is hopefully sometime this year, if not at the latest March next year, as I'll have more time for me in quarter one. And the coaching systems, we've been launching that and doing some of those things at a number of our seminars and keynotes that we've been speaking at. And it is really for people who are looking to get, everyone wants to have a coaching system that grows your business, right? This is more than that. It's more about growing your time. How can you create more time? And you asked about how I balance my family life. That's what this is all about. It's growing your time and how you can get more time, how you can create your business to give you more time. And specifically for those people who are looking to develop their own intellectual property, their own event, their own brand. Maybe they have a concept, maybe they're working for a nonprofit, or they're working for a charity, or they're working, they've been doing an event, or maybe they're a DJ and they have the necessary equipment and infrastructure that want to learn how to, create this brand, create this event, and make some residual, make an asset, create an asset, and make some residual money.
So do you have any upcoming events that fans can come and meet you?
Let's see. Yes, I have events that I'm events that I'm speaking at. I believe I'm scheduled to speak in November in Santa Barbara, and December in November in Santa Barbara and Las Vegas, and December in Las Vegas. And I would just say I don't know that I can announce them quite yet, and I don't have the specific date. So I would say check my website. I am Steve Clayton, CLAYTON.com. So IamSteveClayton.com, and we'll have some upcoming speaking schedules and things like that there.
Awesome. Okay, so just a couple of last questions. If someone is listening today and they want to build a brand, what advice would you offer?
And specifically an event brand. You know, I would say there's so many ways of thinking. I mean, first of all, what's your business model? I mean, is the business model, is it something that you're trying to cash flow, you know, each event, or is it something that you're trying to grow this brand as an asset for a bigger brand to come over and buy you out because of your data and your reach and the number of people that attend your event and your sponsors? So, you know, what is your business model, and who are you trying to attract, and what makes your event different? I mean, your event doesn't have to be, you don't have to recreate the wheel, but you have to have something unique and different about your event that separates you. Why are people going to spend money and go to your event? It's not only about the artist, because you look at some of these performers, they play at 3, 4, 5, 7 different festivals across the country and different events, and then they have their own concert tours that they're on, and then there are guest appearances on other. So if people want to go see them, they can go see them. What is the experience at the event that's going to make it different? You know, so those are some things to think about. Obviously, setting up the business infrastructure correctly, bringing in the right people and the right team to help, you know, guide you, I think are all keys and important features that I comment on when I'm coaching people.
Very cool. Okay, and last question for anyone listening, and I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyway. Do you think it's wise for people to take a leap of faith and follow their heart instead of their head?
So do I think it's wise? Well, then I'd have to answer, I don't think it's wise. And that might be contradictory to what you thought I was going to say.
Yes, you surprised me.
Well, because the way you asked it, it was, do I think it's wise? Do I think it's, and as I said, I am a risk taker, but it's a strategic risk. And so any risk that I'm going to take and think about, risk I'm going to take, I have to think about and analyze, you know, the pros and cons. What happens if this fails? Because they're not all successes. So what happens if this fails? What is the break point? What is my dead point? So I can't say that you just follow your heart. You have to follow your mind first and your heart.
That's
you know,
what I'm taking away from it. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I took away. That, you know your heart, but use your head and make the right choices.
Right, because I mean, if I just followed my heart, you know, I don't know what I would have been doing. I might have been still playing basketball in Australia or something like that, and you know, making decent money, but you know, not being where I am now with my family and the success I have in my career. So you have to definitely take risks and follow your dreams and be passionate about what you want to do. But you have to analyze, okay, if I do this, this is what's going to happen. If I don't do this, you know, what are my pros and cons? What are my avenues? I literally wrote that out this morning at coffee, 3 options for this event. Okay, option 1, here, what are the pros and cons? What are the action points? Option 2, what are the pros and cons? What are the action points? Option 3, you know, analyzing what the alternatives are, and, you know, not just following my heart and doing. I am ultimately following my heart and my dreams and goals, but along the way, my objectives along the way, my mile markers along the way, my head is stopping to think, okay, well, do I turn left and right here? Because, you know, I'm still going to get to the end destination, but, you know, this fork in the road, I have a decision, and what am I going to do? So kind of a combination of both.
Wow, thank you. That was a great answer. I love that answer. And thank you for calling in and talking with me today. This was really interesting.
Really appreciate it.
All right, so everybody, what was that?
I said I very much appreciate you. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. And for everyone listening, if you want to learn more about Steve Clayton, he's got a couple of different websites. I am Steve Clayton. It's IamSteveclayton.com, and soundskills.com. That's soundskills.com. You can find him on Instagram at I am Steve Clayton, Twitter at I am Steve Clayton, Facebook I am Steve Clayton, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and YouTube. I also want to send a thank you to the lovely Rachel Dares of Big Hype Marketing. She's the one who coordinated this interview today, and she's an amazing woman and very hardworking. And she has a website, www.racheldarespr.com. That's RACHELDARESPR.com. Thank you, everyone, for listening and for being patient with the substitute teacher, so to speak. And have a lovely, lovely day.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Rachel. Bye.
Bye.
You work all day, then go home and make dinner. That's not fair, because making your dinner, that's our job. We don't work all day, then go home and do your job, so stop doing ours. Head into Buffalo Wild Wings for America's favorite wings, shareables, burgers, and more. Choose from 21 signature sauces and seasonings to take your dinner from mild to wild. But don't worry, we're dinner pros. If things get too wild, we've got dozens of beers on tap and a full bar to bail out your palate. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.